Nico Rosberg recently said that Lewis Hamilton passionately hates losing to teammates. This is a problem for Mercedes, as the F1 driver has been finishing behind George Russell constantly this year, and Nico recognizes Hamilton's emotional behavior all too well from their rocky time together at Mercedes, a feud like none other which was recently rekindled. Join us as we look at the reason Nico Rosberg still hates his ex-teammate and how his antics started it all. So stay tuned. You'll want to stay to the end to see why this rivalry is about to take off again. In 2016, Hamilton and Nico Rosberg went head-to-head, and Nico ended up defeating him to clinch his one and only world title. He retired after that and became a pundit for Sky Sports in the UK. Nico's experience with Hamilton spoke when he stated that Hamilton hates to be outperformed by his teammate. He stated, "Let's not forget, also Lewis hates ending up behind his teammate, even if you're 11th or 13th. He really passionately hates coming in behind his teammate. It makes him very angry." This year, there are lots of parallels to Lewis Hamilton's 2016 season, and a trend is appearing. Not only is he lacking the pace of Red Bull and Ferrari, but he also appears to be lacking the pace of his teammate. The 7-time world champion is well below the top racers in the points lead, while George Russell, who is in his first season with Mercedes, is ahead, having so far proven himself better at coping with Mercedes W13's flaws. George Russell was signed by Mercedes this year, and everyone expected him to be underperforming than Lewis. But head start into the season, Mercedes failed to perform. Hamilton repeatedly complained about the car, and Wolff kept telling him that it would be better. But in the midst of all of this, Russell managed to become the star in the W13. As bad as Lewis has performed, Russell has just been the opposite. He managed to finish top 5 in the first 9 races and also earned 3 third-place podiums, and is performing much better than he did at Williams. Rosberg reacted to Mercedes boss Toto Wolff's apology to Hamilton for the undrivable car at the F1 Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix by saying, "Mercedes are taking the blame themselves and really trying to support Lewis mentally. It's very smart because it's not quite the truth, and let's not forget that Russell is in P4 with that same car, so Lewis definitely had a big role to play in that poor result." We think there is truth to Rosberg's claims. He probably knows Lewis better than any other person on the racetrack, but this isn't a video about Hamilton versus Russell, so let's go back to the rivalry that defined Formula 1 in 2010 and unpick what really went down between the pair. Hamilton and Rosberg were teammates at Mercedes between 2013 and 2016. When Mercedes delivered a completely dominant car in 2014, the World Championship became a 2-horse race, and the friendship the pair had shared since karting deteriorated into a bitter rivalry. The explosive nature of their rivalry caused great tensions within Mercedes as they fought for wins and titles in what was effectively an intra-team contest on the majority of weekends for 3 seasons. Once Mercedes had the dominant car under the V6 hybrid regulations in 2014, the games between Hamilton and Rosberg quickly began. In their epic Bahrain battle, both used engine modes against the team's wishes to try and gain extra performance. Hamilton then pulled the same trick in Spain to hold off Rosberg for victory, adding fuel to the fire that was beginning to burn between the pair. But things truly blew up 2 weeks later in Monaco, when an incident in qualifying acted as the first public showing of how sour the relationship between Hamilton and Rosberg had become. With shady moves, Rosberg was able to take the pole position, even though Lewis was in prime spot for it. Come race day, Rosberg would ease to his second Monaco win in a row, with any hopes Hamilton had of undercutting his teammate being dashed when they were pitted on the same lap under the safety car. Dirt in Hamilton's left eye left him struggling through the closing stages of the race, but he managed to fend off Daniel Ricciardo to keep second place. But the talking point remained how relations between Hamilton and Rosberg had hit a new low. In the post-race ceremonies, there were no handshakes or congratulations between the pair. They were no longer on speaking terms. 5 days later, Hamilton appeared to make peace with Rosberg when he said they were still friends, but he wouldn't be proved right. It would not be easy to fix. Hamilton and Rosberg would not remain friends. Instead, their fight led to some of the most explosive moments in recent F1 history. Things got out of hand at the 2014 Belgian Grand Prix, when Hamilton led the opening phase before Rosberg turned into his teammate on lap 2. Rosberg sustained damage to his front wing, while Hamilton was subsequently forced to retire. The stewards deemed it to be a racing incident, but Mercedes fined Rosberg a 6-figure sum after he admitted to causing the crash on purpose. At the 2015 United States Grand Prix, Hamilton arrived knowing that a victory would be enough to secure a 3rd world championship. On the run down to turn 1 on the opening lap, Hamilton and Rosberg banged wheels, with the latter forced off the track. the stewards took no action. After spinning in the closing stages while leading the race, Rosberg grumpily threw a cup at his teammate ahead of the podium celebrations. The rivalry was only diffused once Rosberg called it quits after winning the title in 2016. The German driver has had an interesting career in Formula 1. He signed up with Williams in 2006 and had a successful stint with the legendary team. Mercedes came calling and Nico Rosberg was happy to partner alongside fellow German Michael Schumacher. They both enjoyed 3 years together, which saw the team establishing itself in F1 again. Lewis Hamilton joined Mercedes and reunited a childhood friendship. After winning the World Championship, Rosberg called it quits from F1. However, calling it quit comes with a significant drop in income and revenue. Rosberg signed an extension with Mercedes, keeping him until the end of 2018. He could have been taking an estimated $15.5 million from the German outfit for the next 3 years. Moreover, he also turned down a $100 million contract from Mercedes as well. Secondly, the 2016 world champion had plenty of sponsors linked to his on-track ability. When asked about having any regrets during his time at Mercedes, Rosberg answered, "I don't regret anything from the battle with Lewis. That was a sensational time and a mega fight. I'm very proud of that. In the meantime, we've returned to neutral, which is okay." This season will mark the end of Mercedes' 8-year dominance of the Constructors' Championship, as it's impossible to turn such a huge deficit to Red Bull in their favour. But with a contract until the end of next year, Hamilton will still have a chance at redemption alongside Russell next season. Russell is the only driver this season to finish in the top 5 in every race, and he sits 4th in the Drivers' Championship. The 24-year-old remains 34 points ahead of his counterpart, although Hamilton is starting to improve recently, with a top 5 finish in 3 of his last 4 races. Rosberg and Hamilton have recently rekindled their rivalry in Extreme E, an electric off-road series aimed at promoting climate awareness. Rosberg's team secured honours in the inaugural 2021 campaign after a fittingly close battle with Hamilton's outfit. He stated, "We didn't know about each other's plans beforehand. We built up our racing teams in parallel. We also announced our teams within a couple of weeks of each other, which was totally cool. And it's great that we're reviving this duel. That's what we're here for. I mean, we want to be everybody here, but the more intense it is, the better it will be, and the more impact we'll have." Looking back, Rosberg knows the rivalry with Hamilton was too extreme. He told Sky F1, "We made it extremely difficult." Team principal Toto Wolff vowed he would not allow such a situation to develop at Mercedes again. Rosberg's replacement Valtteri Bottas created a much calmer vibe and a strong working relationship with Hamilton in his 5 seasons with the team. The feud between the two world-class drivers really put a dent in the friendship, and it doesn't seem it can be fixed again. While the unfortunate incident escalated quicker than anyone could imagine, it could only have been avoided had the two players not competed so hard in the first place. But that would have been impossible, considering both were the 2 best F1 drivers in the world. Competing to be the best was in their blood. Hamilton can be accused of being selfish and not looking after the friendship, but again, selfishness is what helped him win 7 championships. Who do you think was wrong? Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton, or neither? Let us know in the comments.